go. Okay. So, Chapter 9. Fun chapter in itself. So, make sure your mics are unmuted, please. And again, it's going to cut me out on it. Okay. So, if you have a question, please put it in the chat. And you can ask questions at any time. I do not mind going back. Okay? So, Chapter 9 is really a depreciation chapter. All this one is, and it's going to go again through 3 of the major long-term asset categories. The main one that we're going to really focus on, though, is, of course, the fixed assets, the plant assets, or property, plant, and equipment, however you want to call it. Again, know that these are your tangible assets, and they have to be used in operation, and it's going to provide a future benefit later on. So they're typically going to be land, buildings, vehicle, equipment, furniture, fixtures, anything that we can physically touch and move that's going to help us in our business. Remember this, cost allocation is depreciation. This is all the way back when we're doing adjustments. Those adjusting entries where we use depreciation, it's back. This is its whole chapter that it loves. The only one that, again, doesn't depreciate is land. Because remember, land lasts forever. It is what it is. The next category of fixed assets that have a kind of depreciation is natural resources. And a natural resource is categorized of any resource that we can pull from the earth. So, this is your natural gases, your oil, your gold, silver, copper, diamonds, so forth and so on. The way we handle these is that we basically allocate by what is called depletion. It's just a different version of depreciation, different term. Okay? But natural resources will only have depletion going on. We basically deplete the mine or deplete the reserve. That's why we call it depletion. So I can put that action in there. And then, of course, the last one that we're going to mess with is intangible assets. Okay? An intangible asset in itself is a non-physical asset. What's that? So, with that, a non-physical asset, again, is one that we cannot touch, but does end up providing certain kind of privileges and competitive advantages for us. And I think really do love these. These, of course, your patents, your copyrights, your trademarks, your goodwill, franchises, and even R&D. Now, when we look at these, their allocation method is known as amortization. Again, very similar to depreciation. Okay? So that's why we're focusing pretty much on depreciation and not heavily on the resources and intangible assets and how to compute. Okay? And then your book gives you a nice little picture. So if you need to visualize, there it is, plant assets. There's your factory, natural resources, of course, nature, which we don't get to see right now because we're inside. Nature is scary. But again, planetary, intangible assets, basically the trademark of Ford, this whole advertising of Ford, that's all trademark, so that's why they have it. Or Ford, it's a sponsorship, whatever. If they were really doing that, I would have a new car. And I would talk about Ford all the time. But no. I'm gonna go get a Toyota. Alright. So when we look, again, we're going to pretty much tackle plant assets as our number one category. When we look at plant assets, our biggest thing is how do we account for them? Or how do we get the cost to start depreciating? Well, in order to do so, we have this nifty little formula. First thing that we have to do is we have to basically take the purchase price, what we bought it for. Next, to figure out the actual cost of the fixed asset, we will need to take every expenditure, so that means every expense that is needed to prepare the asset for its intended use. And this list can be big, but it's in the normal course of business. It must be for that particular asset to get ready. So again, there's lots of costs that happen, but it has to be specifically tied to this asset. Don't worry, we got a list. As you can probably see some of it already on screen. So when we look at this, our journal entry. So, journal entries as they are will be a debit to the fixed asset account. Okay? This will be the acquisition cost. The credit, when we actually record the acquisition cost, is the method of payment. Be it cash, notes, bartering, whatever it is. Now, of course, there can be multiple versions of each, especially with credits. So again, if you're going to buy a big ticket item, like a car, most people cannot pay by cash. So we usually have a down payment, which is paid by cash, and then probably a note. So we could have multiple as we go. For a nice list of things that can be included into the acquisition cost. Again, this is only a partial list, and it only tackles like the main 4 items. So like with a building, yes, we bought the building, or we bought the materials and stuff that we're going to build, but we also have to include probably architect fees, engineering fees, insurance during construction. Maybe we actually can capitalize interest on money borrowed, and sales tax. If it's an existing building, we have to repair it or recondition. Machinery and equipment. You have installation, shipping, assembly, maybe testing. Those could be it. Land. Even though land, again, doesn't depreciate, it still is a fixed asset, and it's still part of acquisition. So we still have to capitalize these costs. So, purchase price, sales tax, any fees related, and of course, these 2 big things, delinquent real estate taxes, usually go on tax people, and removing unwanted buildings or any other items, plus any salvage. So basically, if you buy any money for them. we would actually subtract. Land improvements. So, to make the land ready for use, we may improve the land, make it look pretty. So we may end up getting trees and shrubs. Fencing. We can do outdoor lighting, or we can even put a sidewalk or a parking lot in it. Now, even though land does not depreciate, land improvements will. All these items will deteriorate over time. Okay? So, with this, still talking about acquisitions. So, when we do mention about all these expenditures, it's really called capitalizing. That's what we're doing. Capitalizing is basically where we have to depreciate the items, we capitalize on them instead of expensing them out. Every now and then, do all those, you may have what is called a lump sum purchase. Okay? Lump sum purchases are basically this. These are bundle deals. You know, when we go out in the real world and we want a bundle, and we actually pay less than what it would be for them separate, that's what this is. It's a bundle. And so we usually pay less than what the actual value is. Unfortunately, we actually have to calculate how the cash that we bought, how much value from that cash does each item. Now this is where it gets, this one's a little bit more step and calculating. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is know the fair market value of the items. So from there, we're going to figure out an allocation percentage. Don't worry, I'll go through this. And then from there, we're going to multiply that allocation by the cash that we actually paid. So for this example, we're going to use CarMax. They paid $90,000 cash to acquire a group of assets consisting of a building happened to be appraised at $60,000 and land appraised at $40,000. Okay? We need to record the journal entry. So I'm going to actually show all of this. First thing we have to do is figure out the allocation percentage. So this is taking our total. So we add the appraised value. So 60,000 plus 40,000 equals 100,000. Then we take each one, cost, or the appraised, divided by the total appraisement. This gives us our allocation percentage. So 60-40. Again, double check to make sure you're adding up to 100%. Okay. From there, we multiply by the purchase price. So how much cash we pay to acquire both of them. So 60 times 90,000 tells us our building on our books is going to be recorded at 54,000. Land, same thing. 40 times 90,000 will state 36,000. Again, as a check, make sure if you add these costs together, it should equal your purchase price. So now we create the journal entry. Now, remember, up here, we're going to debit the fixed asset accounts, and we're going to credit the method of payment. So for us, the building is $54,000. $6,000. Land, $36,000, just like what we allocated. So those are debits. And then of course we credit the method of payment, which was cash. Alright. Any questions regarding this? Alright. Then of course you got your concept check. But let's hit the main traction. Again, if you have any questions, please just come in and we'll go back over them if needed. So, the main attraction is of course depreciation. And this item is simple as this. This is taking our acquisition cost, which will appear on the balance sheet of those fixed assets, and over time, it's going to allocate those costs to purchase those things over to the income statement, basically making an expense. This is the portion that we estimated that we used throughout the life of the asset, fixed asset. So, when we look at these, we do not record anything directly to the fixed asset. We're not allowed to do that. That's why we bring in the new contra accounts, the accumulated depreciation. So, this one right here is, of course, a contra asset, which means it has a normal credit balance. Okay? So an increase by credit, it bucks the trend of all other assets. We also use this to report what is known as book value. And book value, again, is going to be basically your cost minus accumulated depreciation. Now, when we look at these and how we compute depreciation, there is certain factors that are needed. This includes cost, which is everything that we've already talked about. This is all the expenditures and purchase price. Salvage value or residual value. So, if you hear these terms, they basically mean the same thing, and that's the estimated value at the end of the life. So what we think it's worth at the end that we're going to sell it for or basically trade it in. The third item is, of course, useful life or service life. Again, there's multiple terms for each of these, but basically, whatever the length of time the asset is going to be used in the operation. Now, this can be changed, and this can be changed based on if the asset becomes basically inadequate for our business. We may end up having to get rid of it, so we're shorting the life, or it can become obsolete. That happens with technology a lot. So, we predicted it was going to go for so long, technology kind of blew it out of the water, so it became obsolete, so we got rid of it. Shorter than what we expected, but that does happen. Again, with these though, depreciation does not measure the decline in the asset's market value. That market value can be higher, it can be lower than what we are suggesting on the books, or physical deterioration. All it is an allocation method. So, what kind of methods do we have? Well, we're going to talk about 3 different types of methods. Mostly, we're going to talk about the famous one, which is straight line, as we look at Pac-Man here and his grill. So, Pac-Man with a grill. Nice. But straight line is the most common. So, most companies are going to still implement straight line. We're also going to talk about units of production or units of activity, and also declining balance. These 3 are the main ones that we'll focus because, again, besides straight line, these 2 are also very popular, even though it's showing a little small high. Double declining is growing. And I think this was done again around 2016, 2017. Of course, there's other methods that can be out there, but these 3 are the most common. Even tax will have its own method. So tax accounts will actually follow what is called makers. So that's a different accelerated depreciation method. That uses tables and charts to calculate depreciation or a bunch of fancy formulas, but we are not going to be dealing with that one. You will end up having that in whatever tax course you have, though. So, the first depreciation that we got that we're going to handle is, again, straight line. So what's straight line in itself? The formula is basically going to be cost minus salvage value or residual value, whatever way that you like, divided by useful life in periods. So basically a time. Okay? Now, we also call cost minus salvage value depreciable cost. So that's an interchangeable term. But if you still stick with cost minus salvage value divided by useful life, you'll be fine. Okay? So we're going to use this example right here. We're going to calculate annual depreciation. And we're going to do it on a truck purchased on January 1st, 2019, with the following information. The cost of the truck was $41,000. Its salvage value is $1,000. So that would make its depreciable cost actually $40,000. Okay. It also has 2 methods of its useful life. We have the accounting periods of 5 years and units in, well, not units, that should have been like miles driven. Oops. Something like that. Of 100,000 miles. Alright. So, with this, we need to use a formula to calculate how much depreciation for the year. And again, this is going to end on December 31st. We purchased it on January 1st. So using our calculator, we're going to take, and if you're going to put the formula in the calculator as a whole, use parentheses for the top part. The cost minus salvage value divided by time frame. So the only one that's by time is the 5 years. So divide by 5. So this is our annual depreciation. It's $8,000. Or if you got the notes open, you can uncover it like this. 41,000 minus 1, again divide by 5, equals 8,000. For us to record this depreciation on December 31st, we'll have depreciation expense as our debit, and we're going to credit accumulated depreciation. And it's going to be for $8,000. Okay? It's really what we do each year. Now, what we typically also use for these is an amortization schedule, or basically a table. The table actually helps us see throughout the whole life of the asset. Basically, it will help you with the method. So, with these, we're going to list the periods. I'm listing the date, basically for one thing, and that's to establish the beginning book value. Okay? You're going to see why I have it like that. Because this makes it a lot easier. So starting in 2019, we want to take depreciable cost, which was the $40,000. So again, the cost of the item minus salvage value. We're going to times it by the rate, which is 20%. Now, we figure out the rate by taking 1 and divide it by the useful life of the asset, which happens to be good old 5 years. Again, so 1 divided by 5 equals to 20%, or 0.2 if you want to put in decimal. Okay? So this will calculate out to $8,000. Now, under straight line, notice that we use depreciable cost every year. So it really does not change. Okay? So it stays the same as it goes. So same rate, same expense. Okay? So basically it's a straight line. So every time that this happens, here's an easy way to do these tables to help you with depreciation. Take your expense, and this is finding totals. Okay? This is not doing the journal entry. This journal entries we would do every year. We would do it based on depreciation expense. But for accumulated depreciation, to know the balance, take your depreciation expense and add it to the prior line. But since there's 0 here, it will be just $8,000. Then take this amount, so depreciation expense, and just figure out book value. Subtract out the depreciation expense for that year. So book value ends up dropping to $33,000. Okay? In 2020, it'll jump up to $16,000. Again, adding on another $8,000. And this one will reduce by 8,000. So 25,000. And so forth and so on. This is the reason why it's called accumulated. It's going to basically just continue to grow until it reaches depreciable cost. How's that? 40,000. This means book value will keep decreasing until it reaches salvage value. So again, the formula for book value, you can take actual cost minus accumulated depreciation. Under the table, you can do the little trick I just showed. But either way, I took book value minus 8,000, it comes to 33,000. I take the book value, original, so basically the cost, minus 16, we came out to 25, so forth and so on. Again, each year, accumulated depreciation, and our book value should add back up to the cost. So, for our balance sheet, this is usually what it's going to look like. We'll have the fixed asset less any accumulated depreciation. So there we go. We come up with what they call a net value. So usually we see this truck net or building net on a shorter balance sheet in a consolidated one. Any questions over straight line? Okay. Next, we're going to just add a little bit more. Okay. It always happens. Now I start you out with one little method, and then the next method will increase. So just like we did with accounts receivable. So, units of production. We'll take the formula that we got for straight line, but instead of using life, it will use whatever activity method we're using. So basically the usage of it. From this is going to be known as a rate. Because units of output are units of production or units of activity, however they want to call it, will vary from year to year. Again, we cannot control this. We don't keep it the same. So cars are going to drive so many miles each year. It's always going to be different. Machines may actually make more units one year than others, and so forth and so on. So we're going to take this rate and we're going to multiply it by whatever the activity we done. So the usage, products produced, miles run, so forth and so on. So for this, again, let's set up the average table. Yep. Taking our same truck, and this time, instead of using a period, we're going to use the miles. So, our calculator, again, have our cost minus salvage value. And this time, we're going to divide it by the total miles that we think its useful life is, which happens to be 100,000. So basically, per mile, we're going to depreciate by 40 cents. There's the math calculation right there. So 40 cents per basically mile or per unit, which miles is a unit. And basically, from there, I want to compute, let's say 2019. 2019 we did 20,000 miles. I'll take that 20,000 and times it by 40 cents. And that will tell me that I did 8,000 miles, or my depreciation expense is $8,000 for that year. Same thing with 2022. I had 15,000 miles multiplied by 40 cents. My depreciation expense is $6,000. Again, under units of production. Depreciation expense is going to change from year to year. Boom, boom. So again, it's going to provide you any workout problem or quiz question will provide you with how much miles we've done per year. Again, using our amortization chart, right here, start of the asset, cost is equal to book value right now since there was no accumulated depreciation. For the end of 2019, I already showed, here it is in the table form. There's the 20,000 miles times 40 cents. This is $8,000, which accumulated depreciation is still 8,000. It comes to the book value of 33,000. 2020, I have 30,000 miles times 40 cents, means my depreciation expense increased to 12,000. So now, again, add to make your accumulated balance be 20,000. You subtract that 12,000 from our book value, we can leave with 21,000. $2021, same thing. I have 10,000. So from here, how much accumulated depreciation should I have if you're following along? Who wants to answer that? How much for 2021 should the balance be for accumulated depreciation? Remember the steps. So am I going to add the depreciation expense or am I going to subtract it? So did it increase or decrease? It's increasing. So for our depreciation expense, we're going to add. Okay? So prior year was 20,000. What's 20,000 plus 10,000? Yeah. So my balance in accumulated depreciation should be 30,000. Now book value. like what's happened to book value each period. It's decreasing by our depreciation expense. So, what's 21,000 minus 10,000? Good. There's my book value. So, currently it's worth $11,000 on our books for this truck. So again, 2022 with our 15,000, we have 6,000. How much accumulated depreciation should I have? Or what should be the balance in accumulated depreciation at the end of 2022? Good. It will be 36,000. Again, take your prior year and add the new depreciation. Okay. How about book value? So again, the subtraction does happen. And then we'll finish out the last year, which again should end up to salvage value. Don't worry, we'll try this some more. Okay. So when we look at, again, the journal entry does not change. Anytime we're dealing with depreciation, any of these methods, we're going to always debit depreciation expense and credit accumulated depreciation by this column. So if I were to do, let's say 2021 on December 31st, I would put 10,000, since that's the expense, and accumulated depreciation more than 10,000 as a credit. The thing that's doing right here, this is keeping you up to date with your balance. Okay? So if your accumulated depreciation does not balance to this chart, then we have a problem. So we'll have to double check. Okay. How do y'all feel about units of the output? Any questions related to how we calculated everything? Okay. Well, the last method is usually the most trickiest, so we're going to tackle that one. And that is, of course, our declining balance method. So, when we look at declining balance, these methods alone are basically known as accelerated depreciation, which basically means that we take larger amounts of depreciation that happened earlier in the life or early in the asset life, and less depreciation as we go longer. And there's two really typical types of accelerated. One is 200% and the other one's 150%. We're going to focus on the 200% declining balance. That's known as double declining. So this is 2 times our straight line method, our rate. So when we look at that, so 1 divided by useful life. And then it's pretty much the same as units of output, but watch out for the key here. Key thing is that it uses book value at the beginning of the period. So I will tell you this, using these amortization schedules, this one uses it big time. And Excel helps out a lot with this one, but we're going to keep it a little bit simple. So again, we have the same information. Again, we have our truck going on. And with our truck, we need to compute basically the depreciation rate of this double declining rate. So again, using our calculator, we have to find the straight line rate, which is 1 divided by 5. Again, 1 divided by useful life. And basically double it. So times it by 2. For us, our rate is 0.4 or 40%. Okay? From here, we strictly really do an amortization chart. So here's our periods. Again. Again, beginning book value, or the original cost, will of course be the beginning book value for 2019. Then we take our rate and times it by beginning book value. So our depreciation expense is about $16,400. Again, we get lower our income by that amount. So our accumulated depreciation will be $16,400 for that year, and book value will drop to $24,600. So basically 40% of it. 2020. We're going to take the book value, that is now our beginning book value for 2020. Again, all the steps, we'll multiply it by 40% to equal out to 9,840. Again, we would add for accumulated depreciation of prior plus current depreciation. This should be our balance. And book value is going to decrease. So again, same thing. So we'll have our accumulated depreciation of $32,144, and then subtract out, and we're down to $8,856 of book value. Year 4, again, the thing is going. So taking the beginning, so prior book value times by 40, comes up to our depreciation expense, and then so forth. Now, year 5, anytime we reach the end of last year, something strange happens. This is what happens. Our depreciation expense is basically going to be the difference of wherever the book value is and the salvage value. Because again, at year 5, it is over. That's the end of its useful life. So we must reach $1,000. We must reach salvage. Okay? So you have to watch out for that. You cannot repeat the steps in the last year, not in 2023. Last year typically becomes what is known as a plug figure. Whatever we need to do to get to basically salvage value. Now, also watch out for this one, because this one, due to its accelerated rate, it may not even last for 5 years. It could last shorter than that. So, remember this. This is a rule also with double declining and any other depreciation method. You are not allowed to go below salvage value. Okay? So, you cannot go below. So you may end up ending the life quicker. And just for example, if I all of a sudden said, let's say depreciable or salvage value was 5,000, or not 5,000, 6,000. Do it 6. So look at this. In 2022, we did the steps. It will go below $6,000. So for example, for that. So here, let me just go ahead and erase this here. Alright. This amount. So you can see what I'm doing. So if we say that salvage value was actually 6,000. Okay? This year right here, since it's going below, I cannot use the calculation. Reason why it's gone below that salvage value. So my salvage value has to be 6,000. Because of this, in this scenario, I have to take the difference of these two, which is about 2,856. And calculator. Yeah. So depreciation in 2022 would have been 2,856. And this would have been way bad. But cumulative depreciation would actually end up being calculator. $35,000. So again, it comes out to the cost if we add them up. But that's what also stop it. Note, I cannot go to 2023 because I've already hit salvage value. So be very cautious on this one. Cumulative depreciation or double declining can shorten very quickly, depending on where our salvage value is. Again, if you're going to record depreciation, the same thing. Always debit, always credit. Debit depreciation expense, credit accumulated depreciation. Alright. Any questions over this method? Again, a little bit harder, but as long as you don't fall into the traps, you're going to be fine. Okay. So, the next little item that we have to deal with is depreciation that we haven't dealt with yet is what's going to happen when we have a partial year. Now, this typically will happen, again, when we purchase or sell an asset. Because we don't always purchase it on December 1st, or January 1st, or we don't always sell it on December 31st. It happens during the year. So we do have to calculate depreciation for that partial year. And your book jumps in and does also a modified half-month convention. Okay? All this means when we count our months, because we have to count how many months we've had the asset, if it's purchasing, so if we bought the asset, check your dates. If it's on or before the 15th of the month, we're going to count that month. If it's after the 15th, we do not count it. Okay? And disposal. If it's before the 15th, so basically we sold the asset. We sell it before the 15th, we don't count the month. We sell it on or after the 15th, we count that month. Basically, it's how many months in the partial year, and modifying half month does kind of throw you for a loop. So, don't worry. Once you get the hang of it, it actually becomes a little bit easier. Just think about this. Did we have the asset for most of that month? If the answer is yes, then we count the month. The answer is no, we don't. That's all it really means. So, we're going to take a machine, example here, and it's purchased for $10,000 with a salvage value of $1,000 and a 5-year useful life. Okay. It is placed into service on October 1st, 2018, and the accounting period will end as normal on December 31st, 2018. So, we need to calculate depreciation for the year of 2018. So, with that, we need to calculate how many months did we have it for 2018. So, how many months do you see that we had this machine in 2018? So, Harriet is right. Only 3 months. Okay? Look at the date of October. It's on the 1st. So, it's on or before 15th. So we have to count that month because we had it for the complete month of October. So that's October, and we had it for November and December. So when we calculate these, I'm going to show you the full calculation going on. We're going to first calculate our straight line. So figure out how much annual depreciation. So this is basically 1,800. Then we're going to multiply by the months. in fraction form. Basically, how many months out of the year? So 3 divided by 12. Okay. So for 2018, this machine basically has $450 of depreciation. Change this up. I'll give it a different date. Alright. So, we're going to say the above machine, it has sold on June 14th of 2023. Okay? And we need to calculate depreciation expense for 2023. So we're only looking at that year. Now, if we're selling a machine, that means we probably had it at the beginning of January. So you need to start from January. How many months did I have the machine in 2023? Well, yeah, we're going to have it for 5 months. Even though I changed dates to the 14th, I really didn't change how many months we had it for. Because again, this is before the 15th. So, still going to be 5. We have January, February, March, April, May. Those are full months. Even though we have partial for June, as it's before the 15th, we cannot count it. We didn't have it for the majority of the month. So, we would calculate it same way up here. It's going to be 5 over 12. So our annual depreciation times 5 over 12 means we have it for $750 in depreciation. Okay? Definitely have to watch out on partial years, including how many months we had it for. So, when we look at these, even though it's partial, that's only for that particular year, 2018. 2019, the depreciation expense would have been $1,800 if we had it for a full year. So, be worried. Don't think this is your new annual. Okay? And again, be careful of salvage value and not go below it. Alright. So, another thing that can affect depreciation. Again, this is when management wants to take over. Okay? And management figures out that they miscalculated the actual asset, probably on certain values of the formula. So they're going to tell you, we've done this new calculation. So there's changes in the useful life and or salvage value. So we're going to take and use this example that basically over here, this partial year kind of thing. But we're going to see each year it was actually depreciated at $1,800. Again, based on $10,000 in cost, $1,000 in salvage value, and a 5-year useful life. We've already pretty much depreciated for 2 years. And in this 2 years, its book value is currently $6,400. Now, I will actually show those 2 years here. Okay. So this is what currently has happened. Now, when changes happen, unfortunately, you cannot jump into your DeLorean and go back in time. Cannot go back. It's already been done. So, from these, our book value at the end of the period before the change is now our new pretty much cost. We're going to use that number. Now, at the start of this year 3, management has changed it, or basically the estimate has changed from useful life of being 5 years to 6 years. So we've added on an extra year. They also believe salvage value is going to be $400 rather than $1,000. Okay, so they've changed 2 items in our formula. Now, when we look at this, first off, again, since I cannot go back, our depreciable cost is the book value, previous book value in year 2, minus our new salvage. Okay? So this is our depreciable cost, or that top part of our fraction or straight line. When I take it and divide by useful life, even though the asset is now 6 years, we've already used 2 of those years. So we can only take by how many years are left. So 6 minus 2 gives us 4 years. So this would mean that depreciation expense, as this is a straight line, has now been changed to $1,500. Again, this is a formula that's going on. Okay. So in our chart, in our amortization, again, year 2 has happened. Year 3 has a new change, a new estimate. So depreciable cost, $6,000, times our depreciable rate, which is 25%, basically 1 divided by 4, gives us $1,500. Now it changes a little bit of accumulated depreciation, book value, and then that keeps going for the next 4 years, 3 years, up to 2024. That's really all that happens with an estimate change. Now, book value has to end at 400. Accumulated depreciation will grow to 9,600. Okay. And so always be careful. Do not try to backtrack. So it's only on the years of remaining life. And always read. Be careful. And then remember, it's the remaining book value. Don't go back to the original cost. Because we've already allocated some of that cost already. Right. So, one of the fun, I would say fun items that we get to look at nearly every day, and IRS is also going to look at, is going to be repairs. Repairs and maintenance. And for us, as accountants, we have to make sure that we properly account for repairs. So, there's 2 ways either revenue expenditure, or basically expense it out, or capital, which basically means we put it and include it now into our fixed asset. Well, when we look at a regular expense, this would mean the repair did not materially increase the fixed asset's life or capabilities. So basically it's just there to make sure that it's in good operating condition. Okay? So when we look at this, the best example I think of at times is, of course, are good old-fashioned dig rigs. They're around, they're getting supplied to us. When we look at these dig rigs, they have an extreme amount of cost. So they're usually one of the ones that keep getting checked on by the IRS when we look at them. When I look at oil changes for a big rig, yes, that does kind of extend asset life, but it's not material. Maybe a few more months, not like years upon years. So it's just in good working order. It's keeping it maintained. Again, not going to provide for more than a year or so. So it's not like a big benefit. Same thing with tires on a big rig. Those things end up getting shredded, usually on the highway, but they do go out within a year. So those would be kind of repairs that we would have. Simple stuff. Now, or if you want to say when the headlights go out. Well, repairing a headlight does not extend the truck. Now, but if it's something big, like an extraordinary repair, that's usually like this if we use the truck. The engine goes out. Now, if the engine goes out and I replace a brand new engine into it, or repair that engine, of course, that's going to extend the life of the vehicle beyond what we originally thought. So that is material enough that we would have to capitalize it and include the cost of the new engine into our fixed asset and then depreciated as so. And when that happens, we're going to have to deal with all these changes. Because odds on the useful life has changed and probably salvage value because it has a new engine in it. Okay? Other things could be any kind of betterments or improvements or additions. Because machines, we can always improve them and make them more efficient and help them with production. So these can actually create a better asset that will be capitalized. So it's when you get into accounting in the field and you're dealing with these, that it takes a little bit to get used to what gets capitalized and what doesn't after the purchase of units. But basically, if you follow these guidelines, you'll be good for any multiple choice. Last little bit of depreciation going on here is, of course, how do we remove one when we discard or sell one? Well, we do have 4 steps. And the first step is, of course, you need to calculate any depreciation. So, if the asset is still being depreciated, you have to do the partial year, basically up to the discard date or sell date. If somehow it's been fully depreciated, we don't need the step because there's nothing to add to it, so it's been depreciated. Step 2, we're going to record the removal of the asset. Basically, this is going to be a credit to the fixed asset count and a debit to accumulated depreciation for the amount for the fixed asset. Step 3 is going to be recording any cash that we happen to receive, or if we haven't actually paid to get rid of it. And step 4, we're going to record any gains or losses. Basically, this is our plug entry. So steps 2 through 4 are usually a combined. This is our journal entry. So we have one journal entry, and this is all combined to make your second journal entry. So with this, go through discarding and selling. So when we discard an asset, we'll come back to Smart Touch Learning. So they're going to discard an equipment that has a cost of $10,000. And it's also been depreciated, so fully depreciated for $10,000. Now when we discard an asset, basically means that's it, we basically chunked it. We threw it in the trash. You didn't get anything for it, we really don't care. So, when we make our journal entry, since this was fully depreciated, all we do is debit accumulated depreciation of $10,000 and credit equipment for $10,000. Okay. So it's been fully depreciated. There is no salvage value. Basically the same. Alright? Now, let's take the same asset, so the same equipment, and we're going to assume that on July 1st, that the equipment was not fully depreciated as of previous years. Okay? The accumulated depreciation was $8,000 and has an annual depreciation expense of $1,000 per year. So here's our partial. First thing that we have to take into account again is how many months of the year we had it for. So since we're discarding it on July 1st, that would mean we would have it for 6 months. So, to solve for this one, I would take that 1,000 annual depreciation, basically we have, times it by 6, divided by 12, basically 1/2. So, up to the date of discard, we have $500 of depreciation we have to account for. So this is step 1. Here, notice I didn't have a step 1 since it was fully depreciated. So, we have to account for that $500. Depreciation expense will get debited, and accumulated depreciation gets credited. Okay? So that's for the year, our partial year. And it's always good to figure out book value at these times, especially discarding and selling. So here, it cost us originally $10,000, because we're using the same machine. We're going to subtract out our accumulated depreciation, which is the prior, so 8,000 plus the new 5,000 accumulated depreciation, plus 8,500. Subtract that from 10,000. Means our book value is about 1,500. Okay? It's always good to know that, especially once we get into selling. Plus, you never know multiple choice. They could actually ask you what is the book value at date of discard. So when we look at this, and we discard when there's depreciation, first off, we still debit accumulated depreciation of $8,500. That's the total. We're going to credit the equipment that cost us $10,000. Look at this. That's book value. Since we basically sold it for nothing, we lost it all. And this will be called a loss on disposal of $1,500. Okay? So, but what happens if we sell? Well, we're going to sell some of these equipment. And what's the biggest thing that comes with sales is that cash is usually traded off. So here we go. We're going to assume that we have a company called BTO company, and they're going to sell equipment on March 31st with original cost of $16,000. Equipment had $12,000 of related accumulated depreciation, and under the straight line method, the annual depreciation expense is $4,000 per year. Okay? So again, how many months did I have this equipment for? How many months did I have it for? Who wants to chime in? 3. Good. Since this is at the end of March, I include March with February and January. So, I would take the 4,000, because that's already been calculated for us, and multiply it by 3 over 12. So that means through March 31st, I had $1,000 of depreciation that I have to still account for. Again, I will do my depreciation journal entry. Debit depreciation expense and credit accumulated depreciation. So, let's figure out book value. Book value, again, let's take the cost minus accumulated depreciation, which this will be $16,000 minus $13,000. Again, this is the $12,000 that happened prior, plus the $1,000 that we have done for the year of sale. So, book value in itself is going to be $3,000. And so this is going to help us with our selling. Kind of like up here, just help us figure out how much loss on disposal. This is also going to basically tell us if cash is greater or less than or even equal to if we're going to have a gain or a loss or maybe nothing. So here, we assume that we sold the equipment for $3,000. Well, book value is $3,000. So that already tells me I did not sell it for a gain or a loss. I just broke even. So with that, we receive our cash We're going to debit, again, accumulated depreciation for the $13,000. And then we're going to credit equipment, which cost us $16,000. Again, we have to remove the complete totals. Again, zero gain, zero loss. We broke even. Now, here you go. We sold it now for $7,000. We're going to do this. So if we look at it, book value is $3,000. Did we sell it for a gain or a loss? Yeah, you sold it for a gain. You made more money off of it. Again, the cash received was $7,000. We subtract out the book value and gives us a positive $4,000. So we made $4,000 over our book value. So when we calculate this, or make the journal entry, again, debit cash for $7,000, debit accumulated depreciation for the total accumulated depreciation. We're going to credit, credit equipment for $16,000, and then we're going to credit gain on disposal of $4,000. Okay? So there's our difference between cash and book value. So there's only 3 scenarios. You probably already know what happened with this one. But again, if you look at it, this is the cash I received. So this is definitely less than my book value. So for this instance, I would actually have a loss. I would have lost $500. Sorry. So cash is $2,500. Again, accumulated depreciation in all 3 scenarios is the same. So that's the total. Same thing with equipment. $16,000. But because this is a loss, this is going to be a debit. Okay? Loss on disposal. Again, you want to make sure you're in balance. Your debits match up to your credits. Same thing up here. Debits match the credits. Okay? Any questions over selling or discarding a fixed asset? Yep. Alright. The last little bit is, again, basically, you may have a problem that goes over natural resources or intangible. Typically happens on the homework. Natural resources in themselves, again, remember, it is us pulling out materials from inside the earth. So again, any resource. We're going to have depletion. Again, if you actually have one that's talked about depletion, these are the counts we typically use. Depletion expense and accumulated depletion. The method that we use for these is pretty much basically your units of production. So if you want to go back to that one, the same thing. We have to estimate, again, the total minerals that we can pull from a mine. We find the rate, and then we basically multiply it by how many minerals we actually pull. Really all it is to natural resource. But if somehow we do extract it and we don't sell it, so resource that is extracted and not sold, it's going to be placed into inventory rather than depletion. This typically happens with the diamond market. You don't sell them all, we have them in inventory. And then, of course, you have your intangibles. Now, again, intangibles go with more amortization. And they're going to use typically these two accounts. Amortization expense, depreciation expense, and accumulated amortization. This is going to be done as the same as straight line. So we're going to take basically the cost of the intangible asset and divide it by life. Problem is life is a little bit funky with these. First off, there's some that actually have limited lives and some that have indefinite lives. And if their life is indefinite, meaning nothing basically restricts the life, you cannot amortize it. Because again, we need that number. So if it's infinity, it is extremely hard to get something down, like 0. So we have to watch out for that. So only limited life items. And then it's over the shorter period of its actual useful life or legal life. Again, that's going to be up to a lot of factors like management and historical to figure out how long its useful life is. But somehow its legal life is shorter, you have to take the legal life in. It stretches. So usually most of these are going to have a shorter life than the legal life. That's usually how it goes. Because something bigger and better will come. So the types that we will receive, and you probably will have multiple choice on, because that won't surprise me, is first off we have patents. Again, patents are exclusive rights generated to its owner to manufacture and sell certain items. This is where a lot of lawsuits end up happening. But patent usually will last for about 20 years. And it depends on which country, but for US, it's about 20 years. Okay? Again, we can patent anything, so any invention, any modification, but you have about 20 years. Legal life. Copyrights are basically exclusive rights to publish and sell certain items. Basically items outside the public domain. So musical, literal, artistic work all falls under here. Their time frame right now is the life of the creator, and once the creator dies, we add 70 years. Okay? So it could be a very long time for anything to be put in public domain, just because of how copyrights go now. So again, we're going to amortize over its estimated useful life, not to exceed the legal life. Franchise and licenses. These are rights from companies to basically be able to sell a product or service under specific conditions. These are usually what we see in major companies like Subway, McDonald's, Valvoline, if it's one of those garages. So like all those stores that have a brand name, a lot of them can be known as franchises. Basically, somebody bought the franchise. And again, these are ones that we typically would amortize over the life of the agreement if the agreement has unlimited legal life. Sometimes you can work a deal out where you'll never lose the franchise. You get to keep it forever. So if it's one of those, then we cannot amortize and it just stays on the books as a franchise. So you sell it. Trademarks and trade names. These are, of course, every little thing that we see either with TM after it or the R, if you look at the circle with the R. But these are any symbols, saying phrases, or jingles identifying what company, product, or service. And again, these are going to be registered with the patent office. And again, this one is usually not always amortized due to the fact that some companies are going to renew these trademarks indefinitely. Now, if we know they're not going to renew it, then we would amortize it. But we know this, big companies like Coca-Cola, they want to trademark Coca-Cola and the way that looks for years to come. They will not give up that, right? Same thing with like Hershey's or Pepsi. Their symbols, Ford, that's up above. Everybody knows that. Chevy with a bow tie. There are certain things that will be forever. Okay? Goodwill. Now, when we talk about Goodwill, we're not talking about the company. Don't get those confused. Goodwill in itself. This is something, if you ever take your media accounting, you're going to end up having it probably, you're going to be going over it a lot. But when we look at Goodwill, this is when we go out and we buy another company, and the value of that company and its assets and liabilities, we buy it for more than that. And the reason why we're buying it for more than its assets and liabilities is basically because ongoing they have a great customer base. So we're typically including that in the value, and it's called Goodwill. And or there'll be other reasons why we're paying more money than the actual assets and liabilities. And then, of course, R&D. And Goodwill doesn't amortize. Usually that's a 15-year item. But research and development, we typically will expense this more than we amortize. And mostly it's because of the future benefits associated with R&D. You do have this, can be amortized, mostly due to us not releasing the product yet, and we're just accumulating how much R&D is being in development. But R&D is usually the tougher of the ones. Probably won't see many problems related to R&D. Alright. Last little bit. Our brand new ratio comes in for this chapter. And this is known as the asset turnover ratio. Formula in itself is just net sales divided by average total assets. Okay? So when we look at these, basically this is going to indicate to us how efficiently a company is using its assets to generate sales, or how many dollars of sales a company generates for each dollar invested. So, is our assets making us some money? That's the question. So the more better the ratio, the more efficiency we have. Okay? So with this, we have this example of JetBlue, and they give us this following information. Again, net income, total assets for the end of 2014, end of 2013, and then net sales at the end of 2014. So be cautious, do not confuse income with sales. These different items. So with this, I take my net sales, and again, since it's an average, remember, averages need two numbers. So basically, we add the beginning total assets, then 13, plus our 14 total assets, and divide by 2. Always do that formula first. And then divide into the net sales. So for JetBlue, this is just showing 77 times that our assets are turning over, are basically generating sales. So for each dollar, we basically can turn it over 77 times. Not bad. If we compare, is doing it a little bit better than 2013. We don't have these numbers. This is just an example to compare. But Southwestern, a good one that's here in the state of Texas, is doing a lot better. So we're going to have to figure out how to increase to be around Southwestern, because that's a competitor. Same thing with industry average. We're still a few ticks below. So JetBlue would have to figure that out. Okay? Again, all I really want you to know is the formula and how to compute. Okay? Alright. So that is going to conclude Chapter 9. Alright. So, with that, let's see about the homework. Oh, I went to the wrong one. Signing in. Go check out what the homework has in store for Chapter 9. So here we go. We got about 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 problems. I'm definitely probably not going to get through them all, but let's go ahead and do it. We'll combine them in both. So apparently we lost by a few, so shame on them. Okay. So here's the homework. I'll extend this. Alright. So, first problem that we're going to see. we have Odin Furniture that purchased land, paying $70,000 cash, and signing a $290,000 note payable. In addition, Odin paid delinquent property taxes of $2,000, title insurance of $5,000, and $6,000 to level the land and remove an unwanted building. The company then constructed an office building at a cost of $550,000. Wow, still a lot in this. It also paid $50,000 for a fence around the property and $15,000 for a sign near the entrance. And of course $3,000 for special lighting. So our first requirement with this is to determine the cost of each item. First off, the cost of land. Well, for us, cost of land is as so. We have the $70,000 in cash, plus the note payable, so that's our purchase price of it. Plus, if you look at the list, you have to include the $2,000 delinquent property taxes to help get it ready, the title insurance, and the $6,000 to basically remove that building. So for me, it should be about $373,000 for just the land. Okay. So the cost of land improvements, that should be the $50,000 and the $3,000, but I bet they're including the sign. So I'm going to test this out. So the sign can be part of lease land improvements. So $50,000 for the fence around the property, $15,000 for the sign, and $3,000 for special lighting on the ground. Let's see, $50,000. And then for this one, the building in itself, this is the only cost that it did to construct, so $550. Good. Okay. So this is really easy. Who wants to chime in on this? Which of these three assets will we depreciate? Improvements is one. Improvements and the building. Because again, land does not depreciate. So I would find boom, the building and the land improvements. Check, and there we go. Okay. See, that was a super easy type of question there. The only thing that would kind of trip you up is knowing what's allocated in cost. So let's see what number 2. Alright. So Eastwood Property bought 3 lots in a subdivision for a lump sum price. Hey, lump sum. And we're going to have some appraising. There's our appraising going on. We're going to extend this so that we can see everything. Alright. So, of course, we got to record how much they actually paid for. So Eastwood paid $245,000 in cash. record the purchase in the journal, identifying each lot's cost in a separate land account. So, we already know this. We're going to construct a journal entry. So, each one has, of course, they're separate. And, of course, the cash paid is going to be our credit. And I have the explanation for the answer. Now, here comes the allocation. Alright. This is going to be fun to show y'all. But, first thing that we have to do is figure out the total appraised value. So, 153,000 plus 306 plus 51,000. Again, I'm adding up the three lots of the appraised. So that total is 510. Okay? So, out of this 510, I take each lot, take their cost, and divide it by the total. So, lot 1 was 30%. So, take that 30% and multiply it by the cash we paid. So, its allocated price is actually going to be $73,500. I can go ahead and put in cash, because they're going to equal out to 245. Alright, same thing now with lot 2. Now that I know the total, I can take the cost of lot 2, divide it by the total of the lots. That's a whopping 60%, times it by our cash. So lot 2 allocated out, I basically only paid $147,000. We got a sweet deal there. That's gonna make us some money. Okay? And then last, we do number 3, which is only 51,000 divided by the total of the appraised. So it's only a little bit of 10%. Multiply that allocation percentage by our cash, and it would be 24,500. Okay. And that looks like that's it for this journal entry. Okay. Any questions of how I did everything? Okay. At 510, that's the total of the appraised value for each of the lots. Okay? So all you have to do is add up the lots. Y'all can see the little data table, right? Okay. So that's all I did. So basically we're finding the percentage of each of the totals. Okay. So next question. Question 3. This has 7 parts. Oh, fun. Alright. On January 1st, 2018, we have AirAsia. They purchased a used airplane at the cost of $35,200,000, which seems about right. AirAsia expects the there we go. Alright, so they're going to expect the plane to remain useful for 8 years. are basically 5 million miles. And to have a residual value of 5,200,000. AirAsia expects the plane to be flown 1,200,000 miles the first year and 1,100,000 miles in the second year. Okay? So we're only using 2 of the 8 years. Ooh! Watch out for these. Compute second year depreciation expense on the plane using the straight line method. Okay. So, begin by selecting the formula. So, formula for a straight line, again, cost minus salvage value or residual value. Again, be careful, they like to switch. Divided by useful life. Okay? Since it's using straight line. Okay? Now they want you to actually put the things in. So, 35,200,000. Okay? Minus residual value. That is 5,200,000. So I get all the zeros right. And useful life is 8 years. So, calculator, do your thing. Minus 5,200,000. Okay. So we got 30 million right there. Divided by 8 years. 3,750,000. So again, all we're doing is doing the formula and then actually figuring out the line. Alright. Next, we want to do units of production. So again, formula, cost minus residual value divided by you just change it into useful life in units. Nice. So again, 35,200, 3, 5,200. And then useful life in units is 5 million miles. Okay. So, using our calculator, I'm going to do a shortcut real quick. I already know depreciable cost is 30 million. So I'm only going to divide it by 5 million. So basically we depreciate it by $6 per unit. So again, just filling out the formula for this problem. 3. Okay, so now select the formula to calculate. Okay, cool. So with this, we're going to take current year usage and times it by depreciation per unit. The current year's usage, be careful. This is under second year. We do this just to mess with y'all. Second year was 1,100,000 miles times basically 6. So, calculator. Six is $6,600,000. Okay, check. Oh, I probably missed a zero. Alright, here's a zero. That happens. 1,100,000. Yep, that's all that. Okay. Oh, they're being nice and fun and friendly here. Okay, so now they want us to compute double the timing. Huh. Okay. So cost minus our residual value. And remember, this is 2 times the rate. Single rate. It's kind of interesting how they put this in here, since it's double declining. But that should have been useful. Present residual life. What happened there? That is the little thing. Oh, F minus accumulated depreciation. Oh yeah, book value. That's what happens when you're not feeling good. Alright, well, there we go. Sorry guys. Brain not working a different way that we did the formula. So, cost, again, was 35,200,000. And accumulated depreciation. Wow. So, we actually have to figure this out. And the cool thing is, it's on a straight line, so that's only 2 times this, since it's second year. We did this really funky. So, here we go, times 2. That's 7,500,000. And then 2 times 1/8. Right. So, calculator, take our 35,200 minus 7,500,000, then times it, or divide it there, divide by, oh, let's, wait, yeah, they got this formula. Alright, let's do this way. Clear, so 1 divided by 8 times 2.225, then multiply it by the cost minus accumulated depreciation, the book value, which was 27,700. Alright. So we should have about 6,925,000. Really? Okay, that's annoying, because that is accumulated depreciation. So it's basically straight line, that's 2. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh. Wonder if it's only one. That should be it. Might as well. We'll go ahead and check. Oh, right. So they come out to 8,800,000. Something doesn't compute there. Oh, because we're not using residual value. That's what they're trying to do. They take calculator, divide that by 8. That's what they did. Times it by 2. Well, I'm going to tell you to do, simple as this, do those amortization tables. Those are going to help out on these problems. So again, my mind can't focus too much right now. Like I'm starting developing a fever. So, sorry. But with this, we'll have the accumulated depreciation. So really all you're going to do is calculate based on these. You're going to do year 1. So you have to figure out year 1 on all these. So you saw I already did it for this one. Or so that one's pretty much going to be it. Oh, they want, I'm not even going to, I'm going to talk to it this way. So, alright, yeah, you gotta calculate, so they're doing 8,800,000. So yeah, straight line, it's so weird. They're calculating all these. So this one may end up becoming more of a bugaboo. Units of output's pretty easy. We've already calculated. But this, okay, there's our double decline depreciation. I'm reading it as accumulated. So this is prior. So this is already figured out. We figured that out. So that'd be 2018. And then we take the 6,600 of this problem, and we're basically going to add them together, and that's our accumulated depreciation. Alright. Okay. Get out of this one. This one's I don't like. Ooh. And then they give us a table. They gave us a table. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up. And if you do end up having any questions regarding the homework, because odds on I probably won't be able to make a homework video until later this week. I'll go through that and probably fix that one and do it a little bit better once I'm feeling a little bit better. But if you do have questions, if you're trying, go ahead and send them to me. You can send them through Mind, and I can look into your particular one and see what's going on. But we're going to call it today, because it's almost 3:20 anyway.